How to surrender when you have no money. Let go where the money comes from. Written and published by Rich Audiobooks.
If the weight of not knowing how you'll pay the bills tomorrow is tightening your chest, this chapter is for you. If your hands feel clenched with fear, your thoughts spinning fast, your heart weary from trying, take a breath. You are not broken, you are becoming. The struggle isn't a punishment, it's an invitation. Money is energy, a kind of loving presence that responds to openness, not desperation. It's not proof of your worth or lack. It's not a moral test to pass or fail. It's not a prize handed out to those who hustle hardest. And yet, when there's barely enough in the account, when you feel invisible to the flow, it's easy to believe abundance has forgotten your name. But let this moment be the pause, the energetic exhale. This is where it changes. Not when you figure it all out, but when you stop trying to. You don't need to know where the money is coming from. You just need to stop resisting it. You see, surrender is not the same as giving up. The world may confuse them, but don't let the noise drown the truth. Surrender is strength. Surrender is alignment. Surrender is the soul saying, I don't know how, and I trust anyway. The moment you stop chasing the outcome, you create space for something higher than your expectations. The less you try, the faster it flows. The energy of trying is tight, pushy, tense. It's rooted in fear that says, it won't come unless I make it. But manifestation doesn't blossom in gripping hands. And money, true soul-aligned money, doesn't respond to panic. It responds to peace, to clarity, to trust, to stillness that says, even now, I'm worthy of receiving. You were never meant to force open doors. You were meant to align with the ones already swinging toward you. Let go of the how, anchor into the now, right now, this breath, this moment. Can you soften here? Can you drop the worry for just long enough to remember, you are supported in ways you can't yet see. Supply does not only come through your job, your effort, or the route you understand intellectually. It can rise through strangers, whispers, surprising turns, invisible hands that have been preparing your provision long before you knew you'd need it. Chapter 1. Let go and receive. The surrender principle. So yes, your rent is due. Yes, you need groceries. Yes, the bills keep coming. This is real, but so is the money that's already on its way to you. Ooh. Your ego will scream for proof. Your body might tremble in waiting, but your spirit knows there is a supply pouring toward you, just outside the reach of control and well within the arms of surrender. If you've been trying to manifest from panic, from spreadsheets, plans, deadlines, and sheer force, maybe you haven't failed. Maybe you've simply been speaking a frequency money can't respond to. Not because you're unworthy, but because money isn't moved by pressure. It's moved by resonance. And resonance is birthed in the silence after you let go. Surrender isn't passive. It's wildly powerful. It creates a field around you that whispers to the unseen, I'm ready to receive. That field is soft, honest, humble, receptive. It doesn't perform or pretend. It knows the truth, that your value has never wavered, even in your lowest balance. So let the fear rise. Let the tears fall. And then exhale. Over and over again. Let yourself soften back into the divine timeline. You do not have to hustle harder to be provided for. You just have to stop resisting the help that already surrounds you. Surrender your timeline, not because you're giving up, but because you trust there's a wiser one unfolding. Surrender the mental math, not because budgeting doesn't matter, but because divinely timed money often doesn't make sense until it arrives. Surrender the shame, because you are not a burden. You're a channel, and the more you remember who you truly are, a beloved extension of an abundant universe, the more easily resources flow toward you. This is the invitation. Let go and receive. You are safe to open. You are safe to trust again. Even now, especially now. Let this be the moment you stop trying to hold it all and let life hold you back. Chapter 2. How to trust the universe when you're broke. There's a very specific kind of ache that comes when your bank account is low and the due dates are not. It lives deep in the stomach, a twisting, electrified worry that wakes you up at 2 a.m. and whispers, you're not going to make it. And for anyone who's ever been in that moment, staring at an unpaid bill with no idea how help will come, this chapter is for you. When the numbers don't add up and the solutions feel far away, faith can feel like a cruel game you don't know how to play.
And people tell you to trust the universe. But how do you trust when you're exhausted, anxious, and waiting for a lifeline that hasn't arrived? Here's the tender truth. Faith was never about pretending everything feels okay. Faith is simply the soft decision to stay open, even when doubt feels louder.
Let go of what trust was supposed to look like. Trust isn't always a bold, powerful posture. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it trembles, but it's there, a flicker. The moment you stop gripping so tightly, the moment you let your shoulders sag and whisper, "Okay, I don't know how, but I'm open," you are trusting. You are releasing resistance. The less you try, the faster it flows. Trying, in the way we've been conditioned, becomes straining, obsessing, controlling. We tell ourselves, if I just hustle harder, it will come. But deep inside, that pressure carries a tightness that actually blocks the receiving. The truth is, when you're broke, your nervous system often goes into defense. You're bracing for the worst, and that energetic contraction creates static in your field, like trying to hear a symphony over the blare of fear. This is why trust matters. Not because it will fix things instantly, but because it calms the static. It welcomes oxygen back into your nervous system. It gives the universe something to respond to. Calm, clarity, openness. Trust is not a technique. It's a vibration, a frequency your soul remembers even when your mind forgets. You're not required to be perfect at this. In fact, most days, surrender looks messy. You may trust in the morning and panic by nightfall. That's okay. Trust is something you return to, again and again. Like planting seeds, even when the soil looks barren. Let go of the how. Anchor into the now. Even in the absence of visible answers, you can root yourself in this moment. You can slow your breath. You can ask the question, what would trust feel like here? And maybe it feels like turning off your racing thoughts for just 1 minute. Maybe it looks like saying no to another frantic job application, and yes to a walk in the sun, to reconnect with something bigger than your fear. You don't need to know where the money is coming from. You just need to stop resisting it. Control often masquerades as responsibility, but true responsibility includes your energy, not just your action. If you spend all day panicking, spiraling about where the next payment will come from, you are radiating scarcity. You're inadvertently affirming the chaos instead of calming it. Money doesn't come because you suffer your way to it. It comes through gateways of ease, trust, and openness, even when nothing logical says it should. The universe doesn't operate on logic, it operates on vibration. And when you practice aligning your energy with peace, even for a few moments a day, you open the door just a little. You let light in. There is wisdom in what feels like waiting. There is grace inside the gap. When money hasn't shown up yet, it's not because the universe has abandoned you. Often, it's preparing a path that you're not meant to see yet, a route that bypasses the ego and honors the soul. Just as a seed breaks open in darkness before its first green appears, your current lack does not mean absence. It signals transformation. So pause, breathe. Stop explaining your struggle to a world that won't always understand your journey. Come back to your body. Come back to your breath. Repeat inside your heart, I am still safe, even now. I am still guided, even when I cannot see. This chapter isn't about pretending things are fine. It's about choosing softness over fear. It's about remembering that even as problems scream for your attention, you are still allowed to feel peace, to trust, to believe in what your logic can't yet hold. When you are broke, trusting the universe is the most courageous thing you can do. And you don't have to do it perfectly, only presently. If all you can offer is one deep breath, one whispered prayer, one hand on your heart saying, I open, I receive, I let go, that's enough. You are enough, even now. And as you soften, you'll feel it. A quiet shift. Something loosens. The current begins to move again, not because you forced it, but because you finally allowed it. Chapter 3. The truth about money blocks and control. You've picked up every strategy, said every affirmation with clenched fists, made every list, created every plan, read all the books on how to fix it, and still, the money hasn't moved. As if abundance is standing just outside your door, waiting on something you can't quite see. That ache in your chest, the one that tightens when your card declines, or when the rent stares back at you with no clear answer. It's not just financial. It's the pain of trying so hard and still not feeling safe. You wonder, what more do I have to do? But maybe that's not the question.
Maybe the question is, what am I gripping so tightly that there's no space for abundance to enter? Control is seductive. It whispers, if you can just stay ahead of the fear, you'll be okay. If you worry hard enough, plan fast enough, strive relentlessly, surely the universe will reward your effort. But here is the gentle, freeing truth. Control is not where money lives. Control is where money hides. Control is rooted in fear, and fear creates static in the field of abundance. When your energy is gripped, tight, frantic, you can't hear divine instruction. You can't feel the cues that guide you to what's already trying to find you. The universe is not moved by your attention. It moves through your openness. Letting go isn't passive, it's powerful. And it begins with seeing that your need to micromanage every dollar, to fix your life from the outside in, is not protection. It's resistance. You don't need to know where the money is coming from. You just need to stop resisting it. The more we grasp, the more we signal lack. The more we try to control how and when and through whom the money must arrive, the more we choke the channel it wants to flow through. The universe has orchestras of resources, possibilities you haven't imagined, people you haven't met, ideas you haven't yet received, but if you're only willing to receive in one particular way, you're closing the gates before they can swing open. Old beliefs speak loudly here, the ones that say, if I'm not working hard, I'm not worthy. The ones that tell you survival requires suffering. You may have grown up watching money come through stress. You may have learned that safety equals constant vigilance. But right now, I invite you into a new knowing, one carved from trust, not trauma. It's okay to gently close the spreadsheet you've been obsessing over. It's okay to breathe, rather than panic when the numbers don't add up. Control will ask you to fix the outside first. Truth says the shift begins within. Because money doesn't come from your job, or your business, or your grind. It comes through them. The actual source is the infinite. And the infinite doesn't need your control. It needs your permission. There's nothing wrong with planning, with intention, with aligned action. But when planning becomes panic, when action becomes attachment, you begin to vibrate with constriction rather than creation. Think of a clenched hand. A fist can't receive. Only when it relaxes into openness can something be placed within. It's not your job to control the flow. It's your job to become the space where flow is welcome. The remedy isn't doing more, it's believing differently. Believing that wealth can arrive without force. Believing that letting go makes room. Believing that your value is not based on how hard you try or how precisely you perform, but on your ability to align with truth. The truth is, you are not behind. You have not failed. You are not being punished. You are being asked to surrender the lie that control will save you, so that the truth, that abundance already knows your name, can take its rightful place. So breathe here. Loosen the grip. Lay down the pressure that says you must figure it all out right now. Whisper to the part of you that's been trying so hard, you can rest now. Because the moment you stop grasping, the current can carry you. Letting go of control is not letting go of your desire. It's releasing the chains around it. You are not broke. You are breaking open. And what will pour through, once you stop damming the river, is more than you ever knew to ask for. Let go of the how. Anchor into the now. The wealth you seek is already on its way, and all it's waiting on is your soft, surrendered yes. Chapter 4. Faith over force. Why money avoids desperation. There's a sound to financial desperation. Not out loud, but in spirit. It hums through your nervous system like static, tightening your breath, quickening your pulse, making everything feel like urgency, like a storm, like you have to fix it all in the next 5 minutes, or the sky will fall. When you're staring at zero in your bank account, and your mind is racing from solution to solution, wondering who you can borrow from, what bill can wait, or whether this is finally the moment you admit defeat, there is a part of you that thinks more effort will save you. But the truth is, effort is not what you're missing. Force is not the answer here. The money isn't absent because you haven't pushed hard enough. It's absent because the energy around it has gotten tight, desperate, and clenched. And money doesn't like to be chased. Abundance is not attracted to panic. It responds to faith, the steady, spacious trust that declares, even in this, I am still held. Money is energy, and energy flows where it's free. It moves where it's welcomed, not where it's begged. It doesn't bloom inside overwhelm. It meets you in softness. It meets you in your surrender. Don't confuse surrender with passivity. This isn't about giving up. It's about letting go of the gripping. Letting go of the pressure that says, it all must be solved now. Letting go of the lie that says, if you don't fix it today, all hope is gone. You don't heal scarcity through striving. You dissolve it by remembering your source. And your source is not a job, or a person, or a market trend. Your source is divine, eternal, and deeply intelligent. It knows how to get you what you need. It knows where the money is, and it knows how to guide it toward you, but only if you're open, and not holding so tightly to one outcome, or one path, or one panic-fueled plan. What if you didn't need to scramble? What if you slowed down, and still received? What if the fastest way to call in money wasn't hustle, but honor? Honoring your life, honoring the present, honoring the invisible streams of supply already moving toward you. Desperation clouds your vision. Faith restores your sight. This is what faith over force truly means. It's not a glamorized phrase. It's a spiritual GPS recalibration. It means trusting the greater field, even when your logical mind is screaming that this is not working. It means holding steady in the face of apparent lack and declaring from the depths of your soul, I am still worthy. I am still supported. I will not abandon myself in fear. Let go of the how. Anchor into the now. Because it's not your job to figure it all out. It's your job to return to your center over and over again until the flow returns, and it does return. Money doesn't want to avoid you. It's not punishing you. It's just reacting to the energy you're in. When that energy is frantic, your field tightens. When that energy is faith, your field expands. And when you expand, you receive. You don't need to know where the money is coming from. You just need to stop resisting it through fear, attachment, and force. So what would happen if today, just for a moment, you loosened your grip on the timeline? What would happen if you walked outside, tilted your face toward the sky, and whispered, I trust, even while everything still looked the same? That moment of surrender would shift everything far more than another desperate email or another hour spiraling in shame. You can still take action. You will still make choices, but you'll make them from alignment, not anxiety. From wholeness, not desperation. And that's when money begins to move. When you stop chasing and start allowing. When you stop pushing and start trusting. When your heart opens again, not despite your fear, but in the middle of it. It's okay that you're scared. It's okay that you wish things were easier by now. But don't add the weight of force to what is already a sacred reshaping. Let yourself breathe. Let the moment be tender. Let the answer come from the stillness you've been avoiding. Faith over force isn't about ignoring the problem. It's about becoming magnetic in the presence of it. So soften, whisper welcome, and remember, you were never meant to beg for what your soul is already a match for. Chapter 5. Detach from the outcome. Align with abundance. You want it so badly your bones ache. You visualized it 1,000 times. The debt-free life, the freedom, the yes to things you've had to say no to for far too long. And still, nothing. Just the same bills, the same stress, the same aching silence from the universe. It's enough to make you question if all of this manifestation stuff even works. Why isn't it here yet? But what if your desire isn't the problem? It's how tightly you're holding it. When you grip the outcome like a lifeline, you strangle the very flow that could carry it to you. You send out signals of fear cloaked in furious wishing. Your prayer becomes a plea instead of a peaceful knowing. The energy shifts from creation to desperation. And desperation, as we've whispered before, delays miracles. Detachment gets misunderstood. People think it means giving up the dream, not caring if it comes. But true detachment isn't abandoning the desire. It's releasing the pressure. It's the whisper of, I trust this or something better, instead of the scream of, why isn't it here yet? Detachment is a pure, open channel. It doesn't demand, it allows. It doesn't chase, it attracts. You don't need to know where the money is coming from. You just need to stop resisting it. When you fixate on the outcome, you narrow the pathway. You declare unconsciously to the universe, it can only come like this, through this job, this client, this timeline, this method. And in doing so, you blind yourself to the divine intelligence already organizing around you. Detachment unlocks abundance because it gets your ego out of the way. The less you try, the faster it flows. Money does not come to prove your worth. It comes to mirror your openness. So loosen your grip. Breathe softer. Stop begging reality to hurry up. The moment you stop asking it to show up, in that one rigid shape, is the moment it arrives, in a form so perfect you couldn't have dreamed it. It is safe to want deeply and still release the timeline. It is safe to desire wealth and let the universe choose the door. Detachment is not numbness, it's trust in action. It's the sacred gesture of stepping back and saying, I've tended the soil, I've planted the seed, now I will let the sun do her part. You are not here to control money, you are here to co-create with its energy. And nothing magnetizes wealth like someone who knows it's already en route, who is so anchored in the now that they have stopped watching the clock. Let go of the how. Anchor into the now. Right now is where your power lives. Not in some future event labeled success. Right now, as you soften your shoulders, unclench your mind, and cradle your breath, you become a magnet without lifting a finger. Because you stop waiting. You stop conditional living. You stop saying, I'll feel safe when the money comes, and start realizing, the calmer I become, the closer it feels. This work asks you to trade obsession for embodiment. Instead of replaying outcomes on a mental loop, tune into the feeling underneath them. Why do you want the money? Freedom, relief, peace. Begin to feel those vibrations now, not someday, now. Because you are not manifesting an event, you are manifesting a frequency. And frequency responds to your emotions, not your forwarding address. Are you willing to sense your abundance before you hold it? To trust it's being formed invisibly, just outside your line of sight? To become someone who smiles at the silence because she knows it's not a void, it's a crescendo. Detachment is love. It's love saying, I want you, and I trust you to find me. It's love of the dream, untainted by panic. It's love of self, unshaken by delay. It's love of life, even when the checking account says otherwise. It's presence in place of proving. So, if the money isn't here yet, breathe. Remind yourself, I didn't fail. I didn't fall behind. I am aligning. I am preparing. I am expanding my capacity to receive in limitless, unimaginable forms. Stop gripping the dream. Start becoming its match. Trust that with each breath of surrender, you are drawing it all closer. And remember, the universe is always listening, but it speaks in energy. So the more you align, the less you ask. The more you let go, the more it delivers. The more you trust love to carry your desire home, the faster it finds you. Chapter 6. What to do when you feel like giving up. There comes a moment, maybe late at night, maybe quietly while washing dishes, when the weight of uncertainty collapses your chest. You've tried to stay hopeful. You've written the affirmations, whispered the prayers, done the work, calmed the fear. And still, the bills are due. The phone rings with tension. The refrigerator hums in a kind of loneliness. And you wonder, not with bitterness, but with quiet ache, how much longer can I hold on? If you're here, in that tender space between too much and not enough, let this chapter hold your heart. Let these words remind you of something easy to forget when your hands feel empty. You are not alone in your surrender, and you're not failing because you're tired. This is not the end. This is the opening. Manifestation isn't always pretty. It's not always smiling vision boards and sun-drenched journal entries. Sometimes, it's messy trust in the dark, staying open when the evidence hasn't yet arrived. Sometimes it's sitting in the middle of not knowing, and still believing that something larger can carry you. When you feel like giving up, it is not a sign to push harder. It's an invitation to let go deeper. This is the lull in the tide before it returns, the moment where you soften your grip and whisper, I can't hold all of this alone. And that whisper, that surrender, is not weakness. It's strength in its truest form. It's the loosening of resistance, the unwinding of pressure, and in that space is where money begins to move again. Because money, like breath, is flow. It doesn't respond to force the way we were taught. It doesn't abide by frantic timelines and mental spreadsheets when they're fueled by fear. It listens to your energy. It listens to your surrender. And every time you unclench, not by giving up, but by letting go, You stop blocking what's trying to come in. Pause. Just for a moment now. Let the pain soften. You don't have to bypass it. Just allow room for gentleness. Lay your fear beside you, not to ignore it, but to rest from carrying it. Allow your nervous system to breathe. You don't need to strategize in this instant. You don't need to force solutions. You just need to feel safe in this now. Because that's when the universe whispers, I'm still here. You don't need to know where the money is coming from. You just need to stop resisting it. When you're at your lowest, your least certain, things get quiet enough to receive something greater than logic. This is when magic walks in on tired legs and wraps you in possibility your mind couldn't conceive. Release the how. Let go of the conditions. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to be optimistic to be deserving. Even as hope flickers, your worth never dims. Even when your heart is weary and your body tight with grief or fear, you are still eligible for miracles. Some of the greatest shifts happen not when we're at our most spiritual, but when we're just honest. When you stop pretending, stop performing worthiness, and finally say, I'm tired. I don't know how to fix this, but I still want to be open to more. From that softness, life rises to meet you. Let this chapter become your turning point. Not because everything instantly changes, but because you did. Because you finally allowed yourself to not know and still be enough. Because you chose trust, even when the outer world gave no reason to. Remember, what looks like a breakdown is often the threshold to breakthrough. The old way of surviving is crumbling. That's why it feels so raw, so unsettled. Desperation is not your truth. It's a signal that control is failing and a new way wants to be born. Your job isn't to see the whole path. Your job is to listen, to breathe, to believe, to let go of the how and anchor into the now, to hold yourself gently and say, even here, especially here, I am worthy of wealth. So let go, beloved, not of life, but into it. Let go of the tensing, the calculating, the trying to figure it all out. Let your spirit be held, if only for one breath. That one breath is a prayer. That one breath is a portal. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt in the energy of receiving. Stay open. Stay soft. The tide is already turning. Chapter 7. Releasing the how and trusting the flow. There is a moment, a quiet, aching moment, where you've done everything your mind can comprehend. You've budgeted, you've brainstormed, you've prayed, cried, and calculated. And, still, the money hasn't arrived. Not yet. Your chest hardens each time you check your bank balance, like it's stealing a little more breath away each time. You wonder if the universe even sees you. And this, right here, this is the moment. The one that bends your ego enough to let your soul lead. The moment you're being asked to do something radically different. Let go of the how. Anchor into the now. This is the part in your journey where surrender becomes not a concept, but a lived necessity. It isn't apathy. It isn't giving up in defeat. It is laying down the burden of micromanaging a miracle. It is letting go of your insistence that you must know exactly how this will work out, and choosing instead to believe that it will, even without the map, even in the dark. Because the truth is this, the need to know how is what chokes your receiving. It is the holding, the gripping, the clenched fists around outcomes that blocks the very thing you've been praying for. You don't need to know where the money is coming from. You just need to stop resisting it. But here's the paradox the mind resists. Re-releasing the how doesn't mean abandoning action. It simply means no longer attaching to a limited version of where your abundance can come from. Some of us have been conditioned to believe money only arrives from labor, or struggle, or perfectly calculated strategies. And so we try to force blessings through doors that are not ours to open, while abundance is knocking at the back door, quiet, persistent, and unnoticed. When you release the how, what you're really releasing is the illusion of control. You are stepping back into trust, not blind hope, but deep-rooted trust in a universe that sees what you can't, that connects threads invisible to your current vision. You are allowing for outcomes more brilliant, more benevolent, and more immediate than your mind could orchestrate. And that takes courage. The loud, brave kind of courage that sounds like silence, like stillness, like refusing to spin into panic when nothing has yet physically changed, because you know that energetically everything is rearranging.
Unseen deliverance is on its way.
The less you try, the faster it flows. Feel that deep within your body. The trying isn't bad. It just isn't necessary when it slides into desperation, control, or manipulation. The trying is a signal. When effort turns into obsession, that's your cue to soften, to breathe, to hand it back to source, and say, I no longer carry what was never mine to plan. Show me the way through peace. Because the how has always been heaven's job. Your job is rhythm, resonance, worthiness. Your job is to show up as someone who believes something unseen is already moving on your behalf, because it is. What if the delay isn't denial, but a redirection into a wealth path that only opens through surrender? The flow is always there. The river under the noise is always moving. What blocks it is not a lack of resources, but a belief that it must look the way you decided it should. Release it. Let the universe write your wealth story in unexpected ink. You may be surprised how it arrives, not from the job, the loan, the strategy, but from grace disguised as coincidence, from the friend who suddenly offers help, from the refund you never expected, from an inspired idea that lights you up without draining your soul, from a knowing in your bones that money isn't something you chase, it's something you align with. So breathe. Right now, right here. Exhale, the timeline. Inhale, divine order. With each breath, soften your grip. With each breath, dissolve the illusion that you must be the architect of every curve and edge of your abundance. It's okay to not know. It's holy, even. Because when you release the how, you open to the flow. You step into your life as a co-creator, not a controller. And it's here, in the spacious quiet, that money moves faster than effort ever could. The universe already knows. Let it lead. Let it love you in ways you could never plan. Chapter 8. Why surrender is the fastest way to receive. When you've done everything you know how to do, and the money still hasn't shown up, frustration turns into exhaustion, and exhaustion turns into doubt. How much longer can you hold on? How much more faith can a person possibly have? If you're here, hanging by a thread between hope and despair, this chapter is not only for you, it's a healing in motion. You've been taught that if something's not showing up, you must chase harder, work longer, push more, manifest louder, but in the divine economy of abundance, hurry delays what's already on its way. And control? It's like slamming a door the universe was trying to walk through. You don't need to know where the money is coming from. You just need to stop resisting it. Most people try to manifest abundance by trying to be one step ahead of it, predicting, planning, perfecting the path. But manifestation is not prediction. It's participation. It's presence. It's a relationship. And like any relationship, money responds best when it feels safe, welcomed, and free. Surrender makes the space for money to arrive in ways your problem-solving mind could never conceive. Because here's the great paradox. The fastest way to receive is to stop trying so hard to get. The less you try, the faster it flows. Let those words breathe through you. Because I know, when your rent is due and your belly tightens with anxiety, surrender feels like the riskiest move. You want control because your nervous system wants certainty. But here's the spiritual truth most people miss. Control creates tension. Surrender creates trust. And trust is the frequency of receiving. When you let go, not because you've given up, but because you finally remember you're not meant to manufacture miracles, you become spacious enough for surprise. For the check you didn't expect. For the offer that finds you. For the kindness, favor, inspiration, or opportunity that moves through a channel your mind could never have planned. Let go of the how. Anchor into the now. Your job is not to force open any doors. It's to stay aligned and receptive so the right door opens wide in its timing. And yes, divine timing is real. But it's not always delayed. Sometimes it's instant, just waiting on our willingness to exhale. To say, I don't know how, I just know I'm ready to receive. Most people delay their blessing not because they don't want it badly enough, but because they keep wrestling with life, demanding answers before they're ready to trust. But money is spiritual energy. It doesn't need permission to arrive. It arrives the moment you're softened enough to let it. You are not asking for too much. You are not behind. The flow didn't pass you by. It's orbiting, looking for a safe place to land. And that place, is inside your surrender. There's no shame in needing money. There's only distortion when we think we have to manipulate the world to get it. You don't. You don't have to hustle for your worth. You don't have to earn nourishment. You don't have to beg life to take care of you. Let the tight grip go. Let the timeline go. Let the need for logic loosen. And even as the mind screams, "But we need to do something," breathe deeper. This doesn't mean you don't act. It means your actions change flavor. No longer desperate or brittle, but inspired and intuitive. You shift from chasing the outcome to responding to divine nudges. You follow flow instead of forcing force. And that's always faster. Because what's divinely guided is never delayed. Trust that the energy you've put out is already bearing fruit. Trust that the quantum field is responding to your surrender. Trust that money loves to show up for those who stop pretending they're the one delivering it. Let surrender be your wealth plan. Let peace be your new currency. You don't need to figure it all out today. You just need to become an open door. The door that believes. The door that receives. The fastest way for money to find you is for you to stop hiding behind control. Relax and let it arrive. Chapter 9. Letting go of scarcity. A nervous system rewire. If you've ever woken up with a tight chest, wondering how you'll get through the day without enough money, enough answers, enough certainty, know that this chapter was written in the rhythm of your heartbeat. That quiet panic that hides behind your smile. It's not weakness, it's a signal. Your nervous system is still gripping onto survival while your soul is trying to open to trust. Scarcity isn't just a mindset, it's a sensation. It lives in your body, it pulses through your breath, it curls into the pit of your stomach and whispers of dread. Even when you try to think positively or visualize abundance, part of you remains clenched, bracing for disappointment. That's not because you're broken, it's because you learned, somewhere along the way, that safety and scarcity somehow lived on the same street, that to be realistic was noble, that to worry was responsible, that to want was dangerous. But abundance doesn't bloom in tight fists. It flows where there is softness. To reroute the current of your financial reality, you must first calm the storm within. Before we change the story, we soothe the storyteller. This is the sacred work. Not fixing your outer world through endless doing, but freeing your inner world through gentle unlearning. Because truly, you can't feel rich or receive richly if your nervous system is locked in fear. Let go of the how. Anchor into the now. Your breath is your first offering. Your calm is the currency the universe understands. Scarcity tells you to hustle harder. Surrender tells you, breath is your first offering. Your calm is the currency the universe understands. Scarcity tells you, this is not about ignoring bills or pretending fear doesn't exist. It's about tending to the inner world so your outer world has space to shift. You can respond wisely to your finances while rooted in peace, not panic. You can take aligned action while being led from trust, not trauma. The nervous system doesn't heal through force. It heals through safety, rhythm, and presence. Every moment you pause, every time you place your hand over your heart and whisper, "It's okay not to know yet," is a moment of rewiring. You are rewiring the way you relate to money, not as a threat you must chase or avoid, but as a frequency you can welcome and hold. You don't need to know where the money is coming from. You just need to stop resisting it. And resistance, most often, is not in your thoughts, but in your stress. Trying to fix everything from a state of contraction leads to more tangled webs. But one breath of surrender can loosen knots generations deep. Imagine this. What if receiving was just about being relaxed enough to notice the opening? What if money was already circling you, looking for an open door, and that doorway was your peaceful presence? Each day you choose softness over cynicism, regulation over reaction. You become more available to miracles. This is not spiritual bypassing, it's nervous system integration, it's sacred reprogramming. You're teaching your body that wealth is safe, that expansion doesn't have to feel threatening, that you're allowed to be held, even when you don't have it figured out. The less you try, the faster it flows, because trust is a magnet and control is a repellent. Scarcity keeps you believing you must grip tighter to survive, but surrender hands you the key to thrive. So, here's what I offer you today. Close your eyes, inhale deeply, Exhale slowly. Speak softly to yourself, with the tenderness you reserve for someone you dearly love. Tell the anxious part of you, you don't have to carry it all alone today. Let the tears come if they do. Let the breath deepen. Let your shoulders drop. This is your new wealth practice. Not just affirmations, but regulation. Not just asking, but receiving through stillness. Money is not just a utility, it's an energy. And when your energy feels safe, steady, and surrendered, it flows more freely to you. Your healed nervous system is your greatest asset. You're not behind, you're rewiring. You're remembering who you were before scarcity taught you otherwise. Feel that, the softening. That's abundance knocking. Not loudly, not frantically, but faithfully.
Let it in. You are safe to receive now.
Chapter 10. The Energetics of Trust and Divine Timing. Somewhere in the stillness, beneath the panic, beneath the questions, is a part of you that knows. Even when your wallet is empty and your phone lights up with another bill you can't pay, something inside softly whispers, "You're not late, you're not wrong, you're not forgotten." But when fear is loud and rent is due, that whisper can feel impossible to hear. Divine timing doesn't follow deadlines. And trust is not a performance, it's a vibration. A way of being in the unknown that's rooted not in certainty, but in safety. You may feel like you've fallen behind, like abundance came for others and skipped you, like there's a secret you missed, but you haven't missed anything. You're not outside the flow. In fact, the turbulence you're feeling is often the final purge before the arrival. Sometimes the pain is not proof that it's not working, it's proof that your resistance is leaving.
You don't need to know where the money is coming from. You just need to stop resisting it.
Trust isn't passive. It's an energetic devotion. It means acknowledging that your limited perspective doesn't tell the whole story. It means letting go of making the timing mean something about your worth. It means not interpreting delays as denial. Just because it isn't here yet doesn't mean it isn't coming. The rose doesn't bloom because you yell at it to open faster. The sun doesn't return sooner when the clouds are mourned with panic. Divinity unfolds on perfect time, not on pressured time. There is a rhythm deeper than logic, a cadence of miracles and serendipity that doesn't need your planning, only your presence. Let go of the how. Anchor into the now. The energy of trust is spacious. It doesn't squeeze manifestation into a calendar. It doesn't need to constantly refresh the bank account screen to believe in the supply. It opens, it expands, it allows. It's the part of you willing to say, even without proof, I choose peace. Choosing peace in the absence of evidence is an act of wealth consciousness. That part of you, the one that softens instead of grasping, that breathes deeper when chaos rises, that is the magnet. That's the energy that calls to money, not with need, but with readiness. That's the version of you that money trusts back. Because money doesn't just respond to effort, it responds to your energy, not just your worthiness, your willingness. To trust, to let go, to believe that there's a higher rhythm arranging things on your behalf, even when it looks like nothing is happening. Stop trying to predict where it will come from. It never has to be what you expect. Some of your greatest abundance will arrive from places your mind never imagined, but your trust always knew. Divine timing will test you, stretch you, and ask you to hold faith longer than feels comfortable. Not to punish you, but to rewire you, to make space in your nervous system for abundance that doesn't spike and crash, but stays. Trust builds that container. Without it, we rush into old patterns the moment the money comes. That's the beauty of divine timing. It doesn't just prepare circumstances, it prepares you. It's not about delay, it's about alignment. So when the blessing arrives, you're not holding it with trembling fear, you're ready to receive it with grace. So if this moment is asking you to keep trusting, let it. Let it make you stronger, let it make you softer, let it soften the part of you that thought urgency was power, and remind you that the greatest magnetism lives in your calm. The less you try, the faster it flows. Abundance is never late. Your job is not to chase it down, but to stop blocking it with tight timelines and clenched expectations. When you feel scared, come back to your breath. When you feel lost, come back to your body. When you feel small, come back to your truth. You are not alone here. You are not abandoned. The universe never paused its giving, only your receiving gets interrupted by fear. But even then, grace rushes in when you soften the grip. This moment is safe for you to trust. Not because nothing's hard, but because everything is holy. Everything you desire is on its way, not just in form, but in timing that serves the wholeness of you. So rest your hands, exhale control, smile at the stretch, even when it hurts. You are moving in harmony with something greater, wiser, and kinder than your fear, and it is bringing you more than you know. Chapter 11. Receive from unexpected sources. Stop trying to predict. If you're exhausted from asking, where is it going to come from? This chapter is for you. If your mind plays the tape over and over, doing math with paychecks that don't stretch, scanning your life for lifelines, trying to crack the code, this is your divine interruption. You don't need a spreadsheet for a miracle. You are not meant to figure it all out. You are meant to receive in ways your logic could never design. There is a mystical kindness guiding you, a generosity that does not live on linear timelines. Universal wealth does not flow through predictable pipelines. It flows through permission, and permission is something only you can grant. You have been taught to expect money from obvious places, employers, clients, known channels, the steady and defined. And yet, haven't you noticed? Even the expected sources have dried up when fear takes the wheel. Even the job can feel hollow when the soul isn't leading. Those are not dead ends, they are divine reroutes. The no's around you are not rejection, they are sacred protection. They are opening you. When money arrives in miraculous ways, the refund you didn't know was pending, the check from a forgotten service, the stranger's generosity, the sudden opportunity, what's happening is, you are witnessing how unconfined abundance really is. It will spill over in places you didn't think to look. It will arrive through people you've never met. It will arrive through timing that seems too perfect to be real. That's because it isn't meant to be realistic. It's meant to be received. You don't need to know where the next dollar is coming from. You just need to stop resisting how wide the doorway really is. Money doesn't always knock. Sometimes it flows in through the back door, the open window, the cracks in your certainty. Your work is not to predict. Your work is to align, to hold the frequency of enoughness before evidence arrives, to listen beneath the noise of fear and feel that peace is trying to speak. The moment you stop insisting that provision could only come this one way is the moment you become magnetic to infinite avenues. Trying to predict is a disguise for trying to control. But when you control, you narrow. And when you narrow, you stifle surprise. Miracles don't follow formulas, they follow trust. The less you grasp, the more grace can grasp you. Let go of the how. Anchor into the now. In this moment, you are safe to receive paths you didn't chart. Every channel that ever existed was once unknown. Every opportunity you call obvious was once hidden in the dark until it wasn't anymore. What if you knew that the universe has already prepared the provision? What if it's circling you now, waiting for you to stop trying to name it before it lands? What if it doesn't look like what you thought, but it feels exactly like relief? That breath you've been holding, you can let it out now. You are not the cause of all things. You are the recipient of a grand, benevolent, unseen choreography. You do not manifest by predicting. You manifest by believing. Belief is your job. Control is not. It is safe to say, left double quotation mark, open to money, showing up unexpectedly. It is powerful to say, left double quotation mark, open to money showing up unexpectedly. Your willingness writes your signature on miracles before they arrive. So loosen your grip, breathe deeper, lift your eyes from the ground of worry, and allow the sky of possibility to meet your gaze. The money you asked for does not need your prediction. It needs your permission, your allowance, your letting go. It is flowing. It is moving. It is not waiting on a plan. It is waiting on your openness. You don't have to see it coming to be ready. You don't have to prepare the path. Just prepare your heart, and let life surprise you in ways your fear never could. Chapter 12. Your job is belief, not control. There comes a point in every financial struggle when you're exhausted from the effort, weary from the hoping, and burdened by the weight of trying to hold it all together. You may be sitting in your car after a long shift, wondering how you'll cover rent. You may be scrolling through job listings with tears in your eyes,
the heaviness in your chest growing thicker by the hour. You've believed before, and it felt like nothing changed. You've tried surrendering, and still, the mail brings bills and not blessings. And maybe, in your heart, you're wondering, what's the point of belief if nothing shows up? But belief is not a demand you scream into the universe. It is a quiet frequency you choose again and again, even when you don't yet see the results. Belief does not require proof, it requires presence. It's not a strategy, it's a soul stance. When everything in your outer world is shouting there's not enough, belief whispers, there is more on the way. This is where your power lives. Your job is not to figure out who will help you, where the money will come from, what offer will go viral, or which application will be answered. Your job is to hold the vibration of belief so steadily that the universe has no choice but to reflect it. The miracles do not rush in because you finally crack the code. They arrive when your energy becomes a match for their presence. Belief is the tuning fork for abundance. And it's not about perfection, it's about devotion. Let go of trying to get everything right. Let go of the spreadsheets, the tight math, the rhythms of hypervigilance that make you feel like safety only comes through control. You've done the overthinking. You've done the micromanaging. And where did it get you but tired? This chapter is an invitation, not to stop caring, but to release the grasp. Money doesn't want to be gripped, it wants to be trusted. You don't need to wrestle it into existence. You don't need to prove you're worthy over and over again. You don't need to fight for it. You need to soften into a deeper truth. You are always worthy, and belief is the key that opens that inner door. You're not waiting for the world to change. You're allowing your energy to open, and from that opening, all that's meant for you flows in more easily than you knew was possible. Let yourself rest in the truth that control was never required. It's not your job to push the river, it's your role to stop building dams. When you believe, you stop clogging the flow with doubt. When you believe, you stop sending mixed signals to the universe. When you believe, you finally get out of your own way, and that's when it comes. Not because you worked harder, because you trusted deeper. Belief is a surrender of struggle. It's a lean into what cannot yet be seen. It's not weak, it's wildly brave. Especially when you're scared. Especially when your bank account is low. Especially when the world only wants to reward hustle. In a world full of scarcity stories, belief is the most radical wealth act there is. The less you try, the faster it flows. So write this on your heart and say it like a mantra. I don't need to know where the money is coming from. I just need to stop resisting it. That resistance shows up as frantic plans, as energy spent on worst-case scenarios, as procrastination disguised as perfection. But when you believe, you carve out space. You make room where resistance once lived. You step out of the mental noise and into quiet trust. Real wealth walks into open rooms. Belief holds the door open. You don't need to heal everything first. You don't need perfect alignment or flawless high vibes. You only need to hold belief long enough for the flow to find you. Even if it's just for a breath, a moment, a morning. Anchor into the now. Let go of the how. The universe doesn't need micromanaging. It needs your openness. There is mystery here, yes, but it is a holy mystery, a sacred unfolding. Divine provision doesn't operate on your clock, but it always arrives on time. It rarely looks how you imagined it, but it always feels like relief. So take the pressure off. Your job is belief, not control. And if belief feels like too much, just whisper yes to the possibility of it. It's enough. It's more than enough. Abundance has already turned its face toward you. Now let your heart meet it there.